Hello everyone, welcome to today's stream. How's my sound? Sound check. Sound check. How we doing? I hope my sound is good. I fiddle a little bit with the settings, but hopefully you can hear me. Sounds good. Yeah, so we have been collecting pretty much every single TC report feedback balance that have finally came in huge waves since we went live. So obviously we are going over them as we speak. We plan to have most of the main issues and balance covered in our upcoming patch. And anything we may not fit in that patch will go in the after that one. So yeah, we are getting the feedback and all the data finally, so we are following up on that. Community vote it's bad. Mr. Drop a Scrub, what do you mean? Yeah, taxes is one of the points for TC. We are adjusting that as well. Oh my god, another one. 19 month for Devil's Reflex. Thank you very much. Love that you already addressed that TC is getting an update. Please change supply towers first for our mental health. Yeah, we are doing important updates and balance and tweaks. We have got all the feedback we have got so far. Many of them share the same information, right? So we already have them in our working schedule and work on them one at a time. So I don't know exactly how many we're talking about right now. We have a good list of updates for TC, but we're gonna try to cover as many as possible in our next patch. And like I said, anything we may not cover there, we will follow up on as soon as can after also. Obviously, just to mention a few, storage distance check, it should be close to the base, obviously. Amount of placements, defense value when you have fully constructed a building and how they tick up and down. Obviously, we don't want a siege to be fought by running around in the world and building buildings, right? That's to increase the defense. So that's gonna change quite a bit. So you have to fight when there's actually a siege. If the siege window is already open up, then it's gonna be a little bit late to run around and try to construct things. It's the roadmap. We don't have a new roadmap yet. The next big thing, as many of you know, is the big Unreal 5 Engine 5 transition. That's gonna be very lovely for the team to finally let go of the old branches, the old engine, because we can't work in two different engines and have two different branches, two different code bases. It's just gonna be a complete mess, and we're wasting tons of hours and days every time we're updating a single thing. So that's why we need to commit to Unreal Engine 5 now as soon as we can. And then that means we're abandoning the old engine and we don't have to touch anymore. More bugs? No, I wouldn't say so. We actually fixed a lot of bugs as we step over to the next engine. So there's going to be a lot of nice improvement and fixes along with the transition. So there's going to be fewer bugs, obviously. I don't know if there's any engine unique bug that someone may discover. Obviously, we had our test team Q&A running on Unreal 5 for quite a while, just going through everything from scratch, just making sure there's something that is missing when it comes to the engine part of rendering different game parts of the world. We've done really great, awesome updates along with Engine 5 and utilizing as much bang power as possible in the new engine. I actually plan to jump in on test today to show you Mortal 2 in Unreal Engine 5. Unfortunately, the current build is quite iffy and the lighting is quite off. We just moved over to Unreal Engine 5.3, which is the latest version, and there are some good things for us in that engine. So we were hoping that that will be possible as soon as possible, and that happened today. So there's a few new important updates in that engine. And I haven't had the time to update my editor either. That was my second plan, to at least jump into the editor to show you a little bit with the proper lighting setup. But I'm missing a lot of big files, and that's gonna take quite a while. So I'm a little disappointing that I weren't finishing time with these two steps that I were planning to show you guys, because I know you all wanna see some real action in Unreal 5, right, in Mortal 9. I'm gonna try as a little compensation. I want to try compensate for that and have a little blog update on a website to show you some stuff, you know, to show some of the progress that we are working with. There's a lot of good things happening, like I mentioned, when it comes to Unreal Engine 5. So we've been working a lot on the general world performance, as you know. We worked a lot on the level streaming issues that you all know that we have in currently live, right? When you move around in the world, you pretty much learn where these lines are. That kind of freezes your computer for a moment. Another very huge thing is whenever a player transitions to a node line towards you, they load quite late, and they also don't update their movements until quite late, which means they kind of, you know, warp inside you or warp all over the place. And you can also do some nasty ambush by abusing that line. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. We have made huge progression in this field to make sure the update is constantly and ticking instantly, which means we're minimizing those kind of situations. The actual level streamings have been greatly improved so far. We have been focusing on everything that is CPU stalls stuttering in the world. We have huge improvement overall in those as well. So, you know, we're getting excited to see how you experience the overall traveling in the world. Another very important thing is that we have been working on character optimization. You know, this is a large-scale MMO and big battles happens, right? And even though we have quite decent performance in big battles today, we mentioned that we're gonna try to push our character performance as far as possible as well. Meaning characters should obviously cost less performance on your screen to support even greater battles. So that's something we are working on as well. So we're gonna update you on those things. Some of you guys have been asking for DLSS 3.5, FSR, you know, different type of support when it comes to that, right? And there is something in Unreal Engine 5 that Epic Games themselves have built that support all GPUs currently, which is quite impressive. It's called TSR, Temporal Super Resolution. And the good part with that is that it actually works on all GPUs, no matter what graphic card you have, which is awesome, right? I mean, NVIDIA are promoting a lot of, obviously, DLSS 3.5 frame generation and some fancy stuff. Some of them which only works on 40 generation cards. So obviously, having TSR is extremely powerful because everyone can finally appreciate proper AI scaling to give a lot of good performance boosts. If you are GPU bound, which you will be a little bit more now when we actually are using Unreal Engine 5, because of the lumens lighting system and such. We utilize the graphic cards quite a bit more, and therefore you will also utilize DLSS or TSR a lot more playing on Unreal Engine 5. TSR is for all graphics card, including RTX, yes. So it doesn't matter if you have AMD or NVIDIA, you will be able to utilize TSR. And now I was planning to show that today as well, but like I said, unfortunately I can't show it right now. We are supporting DLSS also, so you can choose if you want to have the DLSS or TSR. Currently, at least, that may change a little bit and it may expand a little bit as we go. But currently, we have different settings for TSR and DLSS, from performance mode to quality mode, or obviously to shut it all off, which means you will not utilize the scaling in the same way. We don't have FSR in yet, also because we haven't had the time. We're not sure of their status when it comes to the version and plugin. But like I mentioned, TSR works for all of the cards currently, which is awesome. Is the game going to utilize the CPU or GPU more efficiently on Unreal 5? So again, we are still in areas CPU bound, but we have doing as much work as possible to reduce CPU load to be less CPU bound. And we are at a point also more now where we can actually see beneficial bonuses from TSR or DLSS. Like I said, we are using lumens as default lighting now for the entire game. And that puts a little bit more juice calculations on your graphic card. And that is why it's nice to have TSR, DLSS available if you're bound, especially also if you're playing high resolution. If you have high resolution monitors, that's gonna put a lot more strain on the graphic card, right? And that's also where TSR and DLSS will shine even more, right? So you can play on a 4K resolution and use those settings to boost a lot more FPS. And I played around with a little bit myself on 4K resolution as well, and it gives a nice boost to the FPS. Can remove invisible walls in the game. I'm not sure what invisible wall you're referring to. If you report it in game as a bug, I'm sure the developers also have it in our backend, so we can see what you are referring to. Please, we want to pay sub. Please bring in sub. It will help make boats come faster. Heebie-jeebies. Let's calm down. Will nanite help with higher fidelity asset at a distance? So we are using nanites on a few different types of meshes currently in the game. So as many of you know, nanites is a new way of creating static meshes pretty much. They're not static meshes, they are nanites instead. And there are some differences there. And for us to utilize nanites where strength lies, you have to kind of build the static meshes with that in mind to really utilize the strength behind a nanite mesh, which is a classic high detailed static mesh type of objects. Nothing with small transparency assets type, such as leaves on trees and so on. It doesn't do a good job there right now. But like huge, highly detailed statues or everything like that, nanites shine quite a lot, and you can do quite a lot of cool things with it. But like I said, for it really to stand out, we kind of need to build and invest more time in such meshes to really utilize where the strength lies with a nanite. But yeah, that's one of the power of it, right? You don't have to manually create LODs for the static meshes, and like I mentioned before, there are some detail maps and such that you also don't need, since all you need to do is build a high poly model pretty much, and make that into a nanite mesh in the engine, which allows it to in real time make its own nanite LODs depending on distance and what you see on that mesh on the scene. So you know, we have done a lot of experiments and see where we can utilize some of the performance and bonuses on specific meshes, which we are currently. Like I said, more over time we will see more optimized nanite meshes, I would say. So it's a little bit of a process. Bill Bunty with the 21 month. Thank you very much. Bring on the subs and on UE5. Ban the cheaters and give us on the dock. We are stepping towards that, my friend. We are getting there. Yeah, so I already commented on teaser, right? So we have finally got the feedback from the player base since we've gone live, and we collected all of it. We already have the entire schedule set up with all those TC reports, balances, issues, and bugs, and we are working on them already. So we're gonna follow up on that. So that's planned for next patch, and whatever we may not, you know, have in that one, we'll follow up on the next one. So obviously we're gonna make sure we have thesis content in a proper place. You know, as we mentioned before, we did everything we could do in PTR to get as much data and feedback as possible. We also fully understand that, you know, players are not testers. There's no responsibility on players that want to participate in testing that, right? So now is when we get the data and feedback, and we are obviously working on that already as we speak. So we're gonna follow up on that in the next patch. And like I said, whatever we may not cover in that one, we'll obviously follow up in the next one. So we're already on that one. Did I miss your message, Bane Spike? Sorry. Did I miss? Yeah, I miss G-Man with a prime. Thank you. I missed a few things here, yeah. What change is going to happen with daggers in next patch? Others have been also, I've been working. And Devil's Reflex. Yeah. We got that one. Biscuit. I don't see your message here. Where the hell did that go? So yeah, we have a few balanced things also along with the TC feedback we are getting currently. We have, as mentioned before, the dagger weak spot that have not been following the desired design, and we have finally identified a few things here that's gonna put the dagger weak spot ratio to base damage in a better position. So that's gonna happen. And the community also touched a very interesting function that we want to test, thank you, which is tying your armor weights based on affecting your weak spot chance as well. Which means if you want to have a highly weak shot chance build, you may not go for the heaviest armor because that's going to make it more clumsy and you won't be as effective with your ratio there. If you go light or medium armor, you're gonna have a better chance, right? It makes sense, obviously. So the lighter, the better weak shot chance. And then, of course, the next step is the actual weapon, the dagger you created, right? And we found an issue in the heavy dagger that is one of the meta, as we can see, which both have the highest base damage and highest weak shot, or a high, very high weak shot chance, which shouldn't be a thing. So that's also going to get an update. So those are some of the things that needs correction along with the next patch as well. So no, Black Crow. So it depends on the build, right? The material and the heavier armor weight you go into, you remove weak shot chance for you as well, if that makes sense. Actually, a good idea. Like that. That's good. Good idea. That is smart. Yeah, so props for the community. I don't remember who it was. I was talking to some people in Discord. And you know, we always want to give options and bonuses for different styles, right? I mean, currently you go as heavy armor as possible. There's no many good uses for medium armor or such, right? So you always maximize your armor. Now, this is one of those things that makes sense. It's logical, and it also helps promoting some balance and also giving more value for light armor versus heavy armor, right? And yeah, and then we have the tower shields, right? There's also some stats that is a little bit off when it comes to tower shields, so we're gonna have a little tweak on those as well. So the passive strength isn't as effective anymore. So you will have to kind of tweak and adapt your shields a little bit, you know, depending on what you want to use. But there's going to be an update there as well that adjust them. Granny cut with the blah blah blah. So as I said, I plan to play today, but the build is broken, sadly. So, you know, we have to do an update to compensate for that loss. I'm a little bit disappointed. I was really much looking forward to show you in real time, because the first moment is wow, you know, wow. And I wanted to share that live with you. So obviously we're gonna have something like that prepared for next stream, but I wanna see if we can do an update, like a blog update or something, to share some of that wow factor, because it's time, right? We just stepped over to Unreal 5.3. We have been waiting on a certain plugin and some issues that haven't been working in 5.3, but today was the day where we finally could step over. There's some really good stuff in that version that we want to get our hands on and test and use. So yeah. The idea was from Lurch. Good idea, Lurch. It was Lurch, eh? Yeah, I don't remember the name, but yeah, you know, we have a cool community, you know. Every now and then we have some interesting discussions and ideas that may fit the design that we are trying to, you know, deliver. Currently we are not on DLSS 3.5, we're on 3.1 if I'm not mistaken, but we have, as I mentioned a moment ago, Epic Game have made their own version that is actually really good. It's called TSR, and it works on every single graphic card out there, no matter if you have old or new AMD or Nvidia. So that's actually good news, and it's actually quite good. So currently we have those two different options, and you know, we will see. We are waiting on Nvidia to update DLSS to 3.5 to work in Unreal Engine 5.3. They haven't done that yet, and we don't want to obviously spend any time on doing that. So we're waiting on Nvidia for that update, and that may allow us to add that also. So we're using the one older version currently. Dual wielding. So that's one of the future combat function that we may, you know, we need to place it somewhere in upcoming roadmaps. I don't know where yet, and you may help us with some of the input there of when that may be. We are always looking for new developers to join the team. Right now we are though quite extremely busy taking the transition that we are very close to do for, okay, thanks Coffee Grind 3.1. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, so everyone is very busy with the transition to Unreal 5, and as soon as we finally step over to Unreal 5 and we can let go of the old branch, things gonna be a little bit more efficient, more breathing room, and we may also have proper time to, you know, educate and bring up other developers. Sometimes there's a good moment for that, and sometimes there's a worse moment for that. So, but obviously our plans are to slowly grow, expand, and just, you know, build both the team better and obviously the game better, right? Oh my God, Brett Wire with the subs. 10 gifts. Thank you very much, Brad Wire, and welcome to our stream today. Build back better. Appreciate it. And Bill Bunty, did I miss your subscription as well? No, I didn't, right? No, sorry. I'm a little woozy today, Been extremely stressed, and I was really struggling to get one of my build working for today's stream. So I've been constant since this morning. Haven't really had time to leave the computer just to get a little bite of food. So I'm a little exhausted today. So sorry if I'm a little woozy. King Silva Death with the Prime. Thank you very much. Love the game and streams. Is there any place we can send suggestions for possible content and quality of life improvements? Yeah, I mean, the community is obviously very good at giving proposals and stuff when it comes to quality of life. You know, we already have a decent list of really awesome quality of life that we fully agree with. We have them in notes for tasks, but we simply need to see where they fit as we go forward. We try to cover some of them where as long as they're not a project for us, right? But you know, if you want to share that, we have different forms, right? We have Discord that I just mentioned. We got some of the inputs when it comes to some balance there that we had a discussion with. So you can always, you know, discuss with us, try to reach out on Discord or the forums, and sometimes even in here, right? Depends if it fits the current discussion. So yeah, we appreciate all communication and interaction with the community as long as we can be civil, right? And Heinz with a subscription as well. Thank you very much. Can we get Equus in guild stable to passively level pets? Gets all having to spend a chunk of my playtime. FK gets... Yeah, so one of the features that we had in the first game that we haven't got yet in Mortal 2 is breeding grounds, breeding farms, which kind of covers that question. You will be able to train animals a little bit more passively by placing them in this farm, paying some fees, and that will be taken care of, and it will be trained for you. So that is coming along with that feature. God damn, guys, you're killing it. You're killing it. Kakarot with the Prime. Thank you very much. And Smoochy Kisses, 11 months. Appreciate it. We appreciate it. And another one, Soulless Guardian. Thank you for the subscription. Will you be able to max level guild stables to sell their own horses to guild members? So there's obviously a lot more we can add and will expand on over time when it comes to TC services and such. And you know, we know that you obviously have a lot of input what you would like to see when it comes to expanding in those areas as well. So there's a few things we want to reach to at this point, right? As you know, especially when it comes to only 5, to have the gameplay, the core performance stability to be in a very sweet spot. And then we're gonna try to shape the upcoming roadmaps. We have specific areas where we know these areas are the ones that we can work with as a team in an efficient way together. And it's kind of like a little puzzle depending on who is needed for what. And then there are certain of these features that we're not sure which order they should go into the game. If they should go in, if this one should be now in the first batch of focus, or it should be later or down the road. And that's where we think you can help us, guys, to give our input on in what kind of order these could go into the game to be, great for the players. I'm Gunanut. Thank you for the prime. And appreciate it. Oh my god, another one. Smooch kisses. Appreciate it. You're killing it today, guys. You're killing it today. We want polish, yes, and that is one of the big focus currently, along with Unreal 5. You're gonna notice a lot of areas that you painfully have got used to, and you will see a much smoother experience in those areas. I mentioned a little bit of it earlier in the stream, what I'm referring to a bit here. Yeah, and that's one of the problem right now. We can't do frequent small patches as long as we're on 2 branches. So right now, we don't want to be there anymore. We really need to go over to Unreal 5 and go live with Unreal 5. And we want to do that as soon as possible, so we don't have to fill around with, wasting time and resources. And as soon as we're on Unreal 5, that's going to help us a lot to focus on smaller batches a bit more frequently and much better control. Hey bro, Joe Tech. When you dungeon, so that is one of the areas we also wonder when it comes to that type of content. You can help us a little bit there also. What is the interest when it comes to certain different areas in the game? Where do we want it, earlier or later, what order? So I think it's the next stream, if I'm not mistaken. I'm gonna have the first introduction of this, so you can slowly over time, give your inputs, and we're gonna present the different options moving forward. We'll go through that, and then the upcoming roadmaps will be planned around those. Henrik, hope you're doing well. Thank you, Bry Guy Games. I'm doing great. Thank you. I hope you are as well. Points of interest in the south. I mean, when it comes to when it's time to add more dungeons, points of interest, types of content, obviously we are always trying to make sure to cover those areas that are quite weak in that field, and then just more overall spread out on Milan, right? So yeah, for sure. 2 weeks is too long between streams. I think we can, in usual case, I think we can have the streams a little bit more packed with some nice updates and showing stuff. Today was a little bit of a setback when it comes to that, but we're gonna compensate for that. Because it feels like I'm streaming every third day when it's once a week. It feels like bam, it's streaming time, and I haven't had time to think about it or prepare anything of value. So 2 weeks give me a little headroom, and the guys, if we need to have something to support it or updated in time for me to be able to show it. So yeah, we're trying 2 weeks for now at least to see how that works for us. You miss me, eh, Squish Alan? I think 2 weeks goes pretty fast anyway, right? Has the jungle secret been found yet? Yes, it has been found. It was shared on the Discord pictures section, if I'm not mistaken. It took a little while, right? It took a little while, but finally a guild found it. Is anyone here that is part of that group that found it? Mythic, eh? Right. Mythic found it. I see. I thought you would find it even faster, right? We even hinted there's something in the jungle, right? And it took a few weeks. I was a little surprised. I mean, I remember when I had this event when I was hiding down in the jungle and just looked straight down on my feet, and I said, "Come and find me." And holy shit, what did it take? Like 15 minutes, 20 minutes before a group found me and whacked me. Quite impressive. Quite impressive. Oh my god, another one, eh? LML Gaming TV. Thank you very much. To be fair, the secret is a sneaky spot. Of course. I mean, if you can find me just looking straight down on my feet in the jungle, then, you know, you're good, right? You're good. You know your way around when it comes to Myrland, and even in the impressive, dense jungle. So that's quite impressive. So it was just a matter of time, right? If you know something is hidden in the jungle, you will find it sooner or later. It was one of those things that are, you know, is not meant to be a super big secret thing, right? Just a cool little thing that was hiding down there. And there will be more things hidden in the game that may be something really big and powerful also, and challenging hidden. Where's Unreal 5? We are on Unreal 5.3 as of today, and things are looking pretty good, I have to say, when it comes to overall functions. We're always a little bit nervous when it comes to updates to the engine. You never know what you're gonna get. Life's like a box of chocolates. But things are looking pretty good. So we made a lot of good progression, and I'm gonna show you how insanely good Mortal Line is looking in Unreal Engine 5.3 in my next stream. I was planning to do it today, but like I mentioned before, sadly we ran into some last minute updates problems. We got 5.3 today, and we messed up specific levels and the lighting, and I don't want to show that because it doesn't do the game justice. We have reached a point where we have approved and we are happy with the general lights, how everything looks, specifically during the day. It looks really awesome, really realistic. We are still struggling a little bit on the transition when it comes to dawn set. That's where it's a little bit tricky to make it really good, and also not to kill performance in a shadow transition to moons and such. It's a little tricky, but the guys are nailing it, and it should be done pretty soon as well. Oh my god, Black Cats Outlands, thank you for the subscription. With new Diva system requires players to create a new character related to the first race. No, they will be linked in a specific way, kind of like, I don't know, half siblings or however we may call it. But it doesn't look like you are forced to any restriction for the second character, other than that they will be linked in certain ways if that's what we decide to go down with. Graphically it looks nice. Will you be adding other stuff with Unreal 5 updates? Yeah, So we are improving a lot of core problematic experiences along with Unreal 5, a lot of polish, bug fixing, and core improvement, I would say, such as level streaming. When you run into a group running towards you on a level, node line, updating movement and such comes very late over those lines, and that can cause some bad experience, and it also looks quite awful. Those areas are greatly improved. So there will be several areas that are greatly improved along with Unreal Engine 5. And I can make a Patronite for this game that players can steam. The players can help hire more guys to fix game. What do you mean Patronite? Do you mean I'm not sure what you mean. Anastariand. What is Halloween event gonna be? Good question. When the hell is Halloween? I've been blind for the past months with my head in the project. Patreon. Okay, crowdfunding. I see what you mean. I'm not sure how something like that could be done. Obviously, we want to try to deliver a game as close as intended as possible, what we are describing as close as possible. And of course, to maintain that and expand that, we need some kind of income, right? And that is by selling the game and subscriptions, pretty much. I mean, donations is obviously very appreciated. We are very happy to have your support. At the same time, obviously, it's hard for us to say that, you know, donate this and we can hire more devs. I mean, obviously with more resources, we can hire more devs, which obviously helps the project. But, you know, we're running a business and trying to run it as professional as possible, the best possible way we can, and be as open and transparent as possible as well. And we're not those giants, you know, like Star Citizen with famous stars and developers that can make a production hype movie for $1 million and then get multiple millions as donations for that project. You know, crowdfunding was made to help cool project that simply doesn't have the resources, or nobodies, or small companies, right? But what's a little bit sad is that the giant and famous developers jumped that ship and actually benefited greatly from that. Instead of investing their own fundings, they can just get donations for free. And if you have such a high rating of donations that you're making millions every month, why change any business in that way, right? Which is a little bit sad, I think, when it comes to gaming experience-wise. I mean, Star Citizen been in development for quite a few years and still not an MMO today, but people are still happy to pay a lot of money for some cool ships, and that's cool and all, right? But I doubt we would have any capacity to get you know proper resources to bump up our game. I would be obviously happy if there was a way to help us increase even faster and more efficiently, but I'm not sure, right? It's a tricky business. Star Citizen is not a giant. Are you kidding me? Have you seen world's largest crowdfunding ever for 10 years? It's Star Citizen. I don't know how many billions they have. Of course they're a giant. What the hell? We have millions, they have billions. That's the difference. Approaching 700 million. plays the small dev called Cracker. Do you think we are a big development team when it comes to making MMOs? I think we are world's smallest team making this type of ambitious large-scale MMO. Star Citizen, Cast Exil, Cyberpunk, GTA 5 and RDR2 combined. That's crazy, that's crazy. Like I said, give us 1/10 of those resources and we will take over the world without a doubt. We have got so used to do so much out of nothing compared to most other game dev companies in the world. And you know, we knew that would be a challenge forever. We're a small indie trying to make the impossible possible. Everyone told us you can't do that. It's impossible. You need 500 developers. And sometime over the years, we kind of think they're kind of right, but at the same time, we're looking at what we got so far, and we're looking at, you know, the community, how much you guys support us and show us the love for this type of game. That really motivates us to keep going. Star Citizen is not a giant. I mean, of course you're a giant if you pull in more money than all those games that above. You know, it's the world's most successful crowdfunding ever. So, I mean, they have extreme resources. Like I said, if we get 1/1000 of that, we would do crazy things faster. So Citizen report over 1,000 employees. Yeah, they're a giant, period. If someone think they're a small team, then you don't know what it means to be a game developer. 1,000 employees for one project it's insanely large. I mean, look at all those large MMOs. There are several hundreds developers working on those for multiple years. So, of course, there will be a difference, right? And we like where we are, and we are very passionate with what we're doing, and we love to be able to do something very unique. We don't have to sit there in the factory and mass produce clones of clones, theme park types of development. We're not as passionate when it comes to that, right? So, you know, it's we are where we chose to be, right? But it doesn't come without a challenge, and I think we all can see those challenges that have been here for over the years. 1,000 employees for a game that you can barely play half the time. Game is less playable than Mortal 2. I mean, we'll see in a few years if it becomes MMO, right? I mean, with those resources, it's hard to fail because, you know, it goes a little bit hand in hand, right? With resources, the more options and things you can do. Being small and less resources, you have to do things differently. And that's what we're doing, right? In a few years, it will be its second decade. That's pretty crazy, pretty crazy. And still not MMO. That's what scares me a little bit, you know. If they had a decent core of an MMO solution, you know, there would be more, you know, core place in place that makes it feel more safe to spend money in it. Just buying cool ships now and it's not the MMO. It's strange, I think. But yeah, like I said, it's a cool project. I've been following it over the years, and I like MMOs, and it's one of the few that I think is cool. So you know, we will see. A statue for $1,000 in Vara, eh? My favorite part is now only having a stream every other week, and yet we still spend so much time talking about other studio games. I don't think we spend that much time, Heinz. I don't think so. There's interesting discussion to be had of why are stalled as we are, what's the differences. You know, some people are interested in that and wonder why those differences are. You know, some people come into our game from Steam and think we are like Blizzard. We are 500 developers or 1,000 developers, and you know, think we should focus on this or that, and they, you know, they don't understand when we say that, you know, we are more around the 30-40 developers. So, you know, am I dodging questions? LML Gaming, what question am I judging? I'm never dodging or backing down anything. I'm always here, 100%, fully transparent. I fear nothing. And, you know, because there's nothing to fear. I can only state the facts, and that's what I'm trying to do. I may miss questions or have them responded already, so I don't repeat them. I don't want to repeat myself too many times and make the streams a little less interesting for people in here, if you know what I mean. All right, race. I'm gonna try to check it out. You dodge wipe for a reason. No, I've commented on wipe around 500 times, I believe, the last few years. I'm not dodging any question. I never have, never will, but I obviously can't repeat myself 100 times, right? I think that's understandable. You get special capes in Unreal 5 launch. You will see. Is the long answer, and the short answer is yeah. Yeah, I understand if you know, haven't heard me answer question and may think I'm ignoring something, but that's never the case. I always answer whatever I can read once, as long as it's, you know, suitable in the stream, right? That's what the patron recommendation was all about, is said, let us fund you. Indeed. Like I said, I try to answer everything. Is there a date for the patch and when subsystem will be out? We don't have an exact date really yet. We have a pretty good, obviously, estimate internally, which we're getting closer to so far, and you know, we are holding that so far, and soon we will update publicly the launch phase process and plans. We need a little bit more time, but we are absolutely getting closer. I don't know when exactly we're getting the bear armors. We have a pack now with armors. I showed you some of those in previous streams, right? And those are finished more or less. The next step they need to go through is some skinning, rigging, animation work, tweaking, and then they can go into the game. And we will plan where it's suitable to cover that and in what pack they may come in, go live. I can't say exactly when. The main focus right now is to secure Unreal 5, some very important parts there, along with some very important core improvements of the game experience. And we're also following up on some TC important balance and fixes, pretty much. Bloop. Caramel Drizzle, thank you for the bits. And updates on a yearly cost for a sub. $120 for a year to play one character, ain't it chief? Let me see. I think we have a pretty... So we have the 1, 3, 6 month options already finished, I believe. and we are following some kind of discount package where if you are subbing for say 6 months, you're only paying like $12 a month instead. So the bigger commitment, the bigger discounts. And we're also looking to support local currencies. So that's kind of what we're looking at currently. Have you considered making Haven free to play and requiring a sub to enter Nave? Yes. We actually discussed that early in the stress test, that it makes sense to make Haven free to play. So anyone that are unsure of the game can try it out, obviously in a scaled down version on Haven. And if they like what they are getting a taste of, they may commit and join the real world Milan, right? For that to happen, obviously we need to rework Haven a little bit. There are specific things we want to improve there and also expand a little bit so they get a little bit more of a juicy taste, so they really feel that it's going to be even more exciting to actually commit and join Milan. So we have plans for that afterwards, to convert Haven to a free-to-play place to try out the game. We consider adding more than one version of Haven back. So there was a few things that we enjoyed more in Haven Mod 1. So we are gonna make an update to that experience, and it will have a little bit more of what we have in Mod 1 Haven. Yes, that kind of adds a bit better to the adventure and some options to try to beat, to feel that you're really beaten Haven, right, before you may want to proceed to Milan. So yeah, we do plan to give it quite a bit more love and more experience, because they can play there for quite a while, right? And obviously we want to give them a little bit more taste of what may be offered on Milan, and without obviously spoiling too much. So we need a balance there where they can get a better taste for the game, right? What is the benefit of subbing? What will be improved over the current experience? So we plan to have a subscription based along with when we release the game, but we feel that we got a lot of support during beta, and even more so obviously when we released the game initially. And we always plan to grow slowly and steadily instead of chaotic, too many crashes and one step down and then have to struggle to step forward again. But that's kind of what happened. We got a lot of people showing up. Some big streamers and influencers picked the game up, and things exploded during release. So the pressure was quite a lot more than expected, and we couldn't reach those numbers at all during stress testing phases. So we had a lot of new network problems that occurred during that. So we decided to pause all of that to make sure we get into position and deliver those other functions that a lot of people would wanted in the game before we are able to enable subscription again. So obviously subscription is a requirement for us as a company to continue working on the game and grow, hopefully also. And that allows us to grow the game more efficiently as well. So that's always been the base model of the game. It's just that we haven't started it yet, so everyone can play for free as much as they want currently. But for us to be able to sustain and cover all the cost, fees, salaries, servers, support, obviously we need fundings for that, right? and it's quite expensive to run these type of projects. And we also decided that the game experience should be the best possible, and no sacrificing gaming experience or locking content or pay to win or, you know, fancy stuff. All that should be a proper gaming experience instead for everyone, and same for everyone. So we decided on a better model, which is a subscription-based model. So that means you will always have full access to everything, including future expansions and everything else, by just having an active subscription. So that's what you're getting for the subscription. And obviously it helps us to grow as a team and make the game even better. So yeah, that's what we're looking at. Common Drizzle. Will some money go towards building your own hosting, or will it be refunded game time if the host decides to have maintenance without notifying players? So in general, we've worked with these hosts for many years, and in most of the cases there's almost never been problems. As of late, we run into two very rare problems, but we also run into another host problem that also affected our game servers that are not really hosting the game content. So that should never happen either. But it's been unfortunate that it happened so frequently, those different things, that you also experience that, right? And obviously that is a big no-no when we are running live with, especially having subscription running, right? It's much more important that we don't have downtime or very limited downtime. So we had discussion to see how can this be avoided, how can we cover this moving forward in the future, and also looking, is there options that could improve this for us? It's not that we're using a low budget or bad host partner. It's actually top tier in the world, and it costs a lot of money. And that is obviously to make sure that the game experience is as good as possible when it comes to servers, latency, you know, and connection. So currently we are not looking to, we don't see any benefits of changing host. It's quite a process to change host also, so we need to consider that. So we spend a lot of research into what is a suitable host for us. We only use 2 different hosts over 16 years. And the one we're using today have a very powerful, it's a powerful company with a lot of resources, and we have a good contact with them. And it's very reliable tools and access we have in pretty much most of the cases. So as it stands today, we're not looking to change hosts, and hosting ourselves adds risk, and, you know, we need top tier host partner, and it costs a lot of money. That's just how it is. So instead of doing more our own, we are hiring the best of the best when it comes to payment provider. So when it comes to paying for our game as such subscription, we don't handle that. We let the best company in the world handle that for us. Same thing goes for when it comes to hosting the game. So the only thing we have left is the game development. That's our main responsibility, and that's also what we do best as a team. So subscription will go towards mostly, obviously, increase the operations development team, and you know, refining the team, expanding the team, so we can do even more in a safe environment. Yeah. Yes, Unreal 5. So when we do have the launch date on Epic Game Platform, that's kind of where we officially re-release, go live on Epic Game Platform. And that's also when the free month starts for everyone that logs in. And after that month, that's when a subscription is required to continue playing. Can you increase to 120, please? Yeah, up to 120 is quite a lot, and you're gonna look like a Smurf, and it looks ridiculous, and all the videos of the game looks like, You're playing modified Quake championships, and it just looks awful. The game is rated to be one of the best looking MMO currently, and now it's going to look even more good in Unreal 5. And it looks to be the first MMO in the world running in Unreal Engine 5. So 120 is quite high, so I'm not sure if we're going to push it that far, but maybe we can stretch it a little bit. If we decide to go through with the Diva system and can handle all of that and implement that in our current system and it all fits and all that, then obviously that means you have 2 characters on one account, and this subscription is the same, right? As it looks right now. If we counter on Steam, are they linked to the Epic launcher? Let's see here. No, I think they're separate, right? So if you have it on Steam and are happy with that, you just play via Steam, right? But if you are purchasing the game via Epic, you play via the Epic launcher. So it's 2 ports into the same game, pretty much. What are going to be the benefits of subs? I just mentioned them, Lufan. Did you miss me 2 minutes ago when I kind of explained the subscription, why subscription, and what it means for the project and for the players? Fat Duck Gaming, thank you for the subscription. And TC update pre-Unreal 5. So the TC update is coming with Unreal 5, and it's closer than you think. I think you may think it's far away, but it's not that far away, I can tell you. So we're gonna start PTR very soon to confirm everything. We are working. So the thing is, we just got last points of feedback on TC, and the developers needs time to work with them, right? We got them now. We got the feedback now, so we work on them right now. And as soon as it's ready to go on test, it goes on test. So we need that time also, or we may not have a fix, right? Let's go, Bruce Lee Rob. Define very soon. Like I said many times, I'm not too happy to say the exact dates, right? Until we have them really nailed down and we know we can stay true to that date. It's always a little bit sad to not be able to deliver on that exact date, right? So that's why I say it's pretty soon. Never say dates. I try to avoid it, right? Because, you know, it's hard. Jesus, got a little fly. Will entities be out before Unreal 5? No, it will not. We'll be getting the ability to buy additional cash slots. So, as I mentioned, we have the so-called Diva system that have a few question marks and a few challengings that needs to be decided and solved first of all before we know how we can possibly implement it, because we rebuilt the entire skill character system based on the first game, where many characters could do way less. It wasn't as fun, not as much investment in one character, so you use multiple characters instead to do different things. Now one character can do a lot more. Still, some players don't think it's enough, and understandably so. They may want to do very different things, right? So we need to be a little bit careful how we implement those steps without creating chaos. The last thing we want to do now is obviously moving backwards or create instability or chaos. So there's a few question marks we need to solve first of all. Relics. You want the relic war, eh? You want the relic war. It's gonna be in a votable option for the community. So depending on how popular it is in the community, it may be popped in earlier than later. But yeah, Relic Wars is really cool. I like those as well. It's a cool system that I think many will enjoy. With pre-patch being a real thing in this game, should players be prepping pre-patch daggers for upcoming changes, or can you guarantee that all daggers will be working according to the post-patch mechanics? So I can confirm that we have data stored on every single crafted item today in Mortline 2, which we lacked in the first game. And now, since we have stored those data, that means we can finally update any pre-patched item in a game. But we have not built that tool yet. And that tool, sadly, isn't a quick thing for any of our coders to build. It needs proper attention from our lead developer, Sebastian. And as you can understand, Sebastian's time is quite precious and prioritized on very specific things. So we can't just clam it in as we want, and even though we will like it, you know, very soon. But we also obviously understand that there are certain balances and issues that obviously won't be fully utilized until that tool is in place, so we can update all the old pre-patch items. So that is the problem. So even though we fix balance over time now, we can't update the items until Sebastian spend certain amount of development time on this tool. And we know it's an importance, and we are gonna prioritize this as soon as we have room for it. I hope that makes sense when I try to explain here. So that means, yes, we will be able to cover all pre-patch items, shields, daggers, etc. But we need to plan the tool properly for Sebastian's schedule. You plan to balance the TC and fix the... Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier in the stream, we have got all feedback, or a lot feedback, I would say, as of late. Now when people really crunch through the different areas in TC. So now that we got the data, we've been able to confirm most of it, and we also put developers on working on it and fixing and balancing. And that is planned to go live as soon as we can. So we have high prioritized order on following up on TC. So that means the gap on pre-patch daggers. That means that soon those will be worthless, or same with the tower shields. We will get them. That's the important point, right? And I can't say how many days you will have to keep them. That's the only thing. Do you have a list of what feature you make into the community survey? Can we make a list on stream with you? I have a list. I have not fully finalized it, but I will finalize it, and I may have that topic for next stream and kind of start that process, so you can start reading up a little bit on those options. When you plan re-enabling troll domination, so you require specific things, items, to dominate some creatures, and those items are not finished yet. So that is one of the requirements to expanding on dominations. Will there be a way to link 2 Steam accounts for 1 sub so we don't have to reroll when second character come out? So that's one of the challenges, right? We need to look into those possibilities. That's why we can't just throw it in right now in the top of everything else. We need to carefully go through those mechanics and plan them, design them, and make sure everything works so we can stand behind them. Mad King. Will players who bought the original 140 edition of the games to be on their 3-month subs? Yeah, so all that is logged. If you bought one of those Conflux packs back in the days that included more free time or game time on them, those are logged, and you will have those times added also when it's time to start the free month. The supply stores cannot be built 50-meter radius from the guild. Yeah. That will be done on the storehouse. Absolutely, that's one of those important fixes, right? And it's coming in the next patch. Can you talk about a new player experience when you launch on Epic? You're going to get a large influx of players. How do you plan on hooking them? So we have, obviously, I mentioned this a few times before, I think. One of the important things, yes, for new players is the new player experience, right? The thing is, Haven works for all new players. It's not that they get stuck or don't understand. They just go through it kind of like in World of Warcraft or any other MMO tutorial. Nothing really exciting or difficult, right? Everyone just go through them, and we can see the stats on Steam and on our server that pretty much every single player go through them because they're so hard-coded in following a tutorial and do the different steps. So that kind of works, even though obviously there's a lot of room for improvement and added fun stuff on Haven, which we will add when we finally plans to make it free to play on Haven. Then that becomes even more important, so they can have more fun on Haven before they join Mirland, right? But the game doesn't really start until you obviously join Mirland after Haven, which we can see a huge majority. We have actually a better ratio on the stay ratio than a much higher average than all other games on Steam. You can see all these cool stats on Steam, which is quite helpful. And but this is where the problem starts. Depending on where they pick, what city they pick on Mirland, that's a big factor already there. And whoever they run into, Haven isn't crap, Reed Snack. I just said that it works. We have a much higher success ratio than any other game. What doesn't work is like what I'm just trying to explain here, if you can listen for a moment. Start location is a big factor. And then many of them are not really used to a true sandbox game, so they expect a character with a question mark. They don't really know that, you know, now it's up to you to start your adventure and do whatever you want. And you see that sometime in help channel. What the hell do I do now, right? So some people struggle here. So while they don't know what to do, they just head straight out in the wilderness. And what do they do then? Well, they either run into Jake, get killed and taunted and feel frustrated and either rage quit instantly, or they run into a bear or a pack of wolves, don't know how to fight them efficiently because they don't have any gear. They may die there. So they obviously run into a lot of struggles initially, and they don't really have that red line of what should I start working on? Well, what can start improving my character? If they don't have a friend or guild or ask or being a little bit more creative, right? And this is where we need to step in to secure that big drop off, right? That's the big one. And we have really good plans here to hold them in their hands and put them on a path on different things they can do and progress a character, feel that red line picking up And while they do that adventure, they will run into all kind of crazy stuff and learn more things and be interested of other things. And eventually, hopefully, they become hooked into the game, as many of you know, to experience that depth and see that, okay, there's quite a lot you can step into when it comes to this type of game and find their area where they really enjoy things. So that's one of the big thing that is quite important that we are adding along with Unreal 5. And it's not only for noobs, right? Anyone can pick up that. So in short, we are expanding the task system to be much more fleshed out, interesting system that simply gives you work. If you want to do work for different nations or progressions and cool rewards, you can start doing that type of task work. So that's going to be a very important system to help new players. So I hope that makes sense. That is the best thing about sandbox MMOs. You need to explore and find out all by yourself through action, people, channel on the internet. Yeah, absolutely. But I think a lot of the new generation coming from classic theme parks, they haven't really got used to this, and they may need a little nudge in the right direction so they kind of get the idea and go on their own, right? So absolutely. Many of us may come from sandbox games, Ultima Alliance, Star Wars Galaxies, or whatever that may be. We know this, right? But a huge generation of, hardcore MMO players coming from a lot of theme parks, and they haven't really experienced that kind of freedom. So it's a little bit shocking to them, and we need to bring that shock down a little bit so they kind of embrace it just as we are, right? When I'm finally going to show Unreal 5 in game. Today was the plan. Sadly, the build was fucked up when it comes to the lighting in this build. It was all done in last minute. We just moved over to Unreal 5.3, which is a big, very good thing for us. We failed on that to show in the stream today. I was working in the last minute to hopefully try to get it in to work, but I failed. So we're going to try to make a little dev update to show that, and absolutely next stream we will be able to show that, because the general light in the world have been approved. It's really in a sweet spot. We're happy with that. So now we can finally start showing the game in Unreal 5. I think I have more time crafting in Final Fantasy 11 than I played the game. Yeah. I mean, we have players that will do many different things rather than... I mean, we have people that don't even fight, right? We have fishermen that does nothing but fish. And we will have plenty of other areas that players will do and don't care about anything else in the world. And that's the beautiful thing with a living sandbox world, where people can meet and have all different kinds of interactions and interest of what they want to do in games. Some want to have wars, some want to have crafting, trading, someone want to do ARP elements, someone want to sit down in the tavern and play some poker together, and I'm one of those, actually. I have to admit it. I can't wait to sit down in the tavern with you guys, have tournaments and play Texas Hold'em. I'm gonna try to take your goal, in a polite manner. Anyone up for playing with me? Let's do it. What are the plans for increased server quality for to be large influx of new players? So since Steam release, we have worked on the server performance updates, and we have done thousands times of improvements. So our server isn't even sweating when we have 450 man battles, and that is obviously extremely impressive, and we're very happy with that result so far. Slot machines, eh? I think blackjack and poker is two classic games we all can enjoy for a very long time, right? But obviously, we have a lot of cool table games we want to add over time. Plans to make the Kalenic Cave more attractive? Well, what you call the Kalenic Cave is actually one entrance to the Underdark. That's all what it is. It's not really a cave or dungeon. It's more one opening down to Underdark. So absolutely, we see more Underdark over time. And there's even more to the Kalenius eventually. What happened with fist weapons? They are still in the list next to dual wielding. The question is when we want them and where we want them. Damn, for the 450 man battles, when was that? Can't believe I missed it. There's been quite a few 400 man battle. The biggest one we had, I don't remember when it was, but I was present. I was looking on the server in real time. It was above 450, a little bit above 450. A very big siege that chicken out in a stare down. And no, we didn't have any crash or reset it then. So the load or covered, you know, we handle the load when it comes to such battles. And that's, I think that's a world record. I haven't seen any real-time combat fantasy MMO that has more than 450 people on the screen in one area without melting down completely. Our FPS wasn't great, but it will be better with the new character optimization system. Yeah, I'm quite stuck here on the first point. Maybe I should proceed a little bit, guys. One moment. I have talked about some of the updates already with Unreal 5. I missed to update the topic here. Can you speak how earning PvE title work for bosses like Many Kings or Spider Queens? Do you need a certain threshold of damage to get credit, or is it just last hit? As a mage, how am I supposed to get credit for the kill? Shit, it was quite a while ago since we worked on that system when it comes to sharing experience and kill stats. But if I'm not mistaken, it is the last kill to get that number tick, if I'm not mistaken. Which means, yeah, as a mage, you have to time your Thunder Lash to get the kill. Just like a melee fighter would time his last strike, right? If I'm not mistaken, that is the case, the last hit, the kill blow. The steering contest, yeah, a little battle happened, but yeah, it wasn't what I was expecting and hoped for. Obviously, I was quite eager to see the action, but it was a stare down and a chicken out race, and that's it. I was hoping that the attackers would start hitting their lines just outside to, you know, be able to hurt the towers because they were below that bonus threshold, but it didn't, which surprised me. They just ran away and it all fizzled out, unfortunately. But there's been some acts, coalition, war with 400 battles before that people confirmed FPS wasn't too bad and not a single latency or delay on the server. And it was just brilliant performance. And you can expect better character performance when we're done with the character optimization system. Where was the chicken stare down? Where was it, guys? It was multiple guilds. Oh, where was it? Around the Galcore area. I don't remember exactly which keep it was. I'm sure someone does remember. Only sounds bugs up now in big battles. Yeah, I heard that still happens. We had a few possible fixes to that, but I heard that it still goes silent in those numbers. So obviously we need to investigate more why that maybe happened. I'm not sure if there's changes to that system in Unreal 5 already, so gonna be interesting to see what we get. Beer keep, indeed, that may be the one. The thought about subscription push players away more in, are you expecting that Unreal 5 will actually say it? I don't really understand your question, Hypno. Will we push away players with subscription? There may be some players that don't want to pay subscription, and that's fine, and we kind of understand that that may be the case, right? But we always try to be extremely informative that this is a subscription-based MMO. It's in big letters everywhere where you buy the game. So it shouldn't come at a surprise, right? It's just that we haven't enabled the subscription since forever. So we have invested back money from sales, etc., and our own investment to work on the game while you can enjoy the game for free, even though we are obviously running out of those fundings, right? Hunt sharks on a boat. Eventually, you will be able to hunt sea creatures on a boat. The question is when we put it on the roadmap, and that's again where you come into play to help us pinpoint if we want it earlier or later, depending on the other things. Yeah, so we had meetings when it comes to guild radius on the map, and what it seems to be the conclusion of, as of today's research, like 90% correct, I would say, is that the codes on the calculation is correct, but the map visualization is off. So we are all fooled by watching the map radius. The code shows the correct one. The ones that give you correct taxes is within the correct ranges, but the radius on the map seems to be bugged out in calculations. And we even noticed that in different resolution, those radius also differ, which obviously points to a bugged UI in this case. So obviously we need to figure that out, the UI, so it represents the codes, right? Other people do not understand how it costs money to run an MMO. I take a sub over free to play any day. I agree. I'm one of those that will pick a MMO with a sub over free to play. And I've done that in many MMOs. Ships update when? You will have that option on the community poll. It's a big project, so it's not... I'm looking to color code these things, right? We can only do a few options per boat, I would say. And the ship system is a very large feature that requires a lot of development time. And then there are other that takes much less development time, and they will be color coded. So you will see that only a few fits in the possible votes. It will make sense when we show this to you. We need pirate rating. That's true. Is there a way to narrow down what is a bottleneck in game performance? Any in-game test effects, artifacts that will allow us to see if it's CPU or GPU? Currently, you are 98% CPU bound in Mortal Lion 2. With more Unreal Engine 5, we're looking to be more 50-50, I would say. Which means we can utilize TSR and DLSS a lot more on a graphics card, especially when playing in high resolutions. And that means you get more FPS as long as you're not CPU bound, thanks to that awesome AI software. And the cool thing is, as I mentioned before, TSR is Epic Games' own kind of DLSS version that works on any GPU in the world. So everyone can enjoy better frame rate on any GPU as long as you're not CPU bound. What will the cooldowns of melee abilities look like? Using them a lot, or will be? So we're looking at the adrenaline system, and you build up the adrenaline and you spend adrenaline to perform these melee abilities. So that means you could spam a few until your adrenaline is out, or you kind of use them more wisely, or save up for a combo, or whatever, right? That's up to you. But is adrenaline also the case over time when you are not engaging in combat? So you can't just store it up with your friends pre-fight. In battle, that's when you can start utilizing it. It's a cool system, and I have high hopes that that's gonna really boost the depth of skillful fights. And obviously we're gonna have to test that a lot on PTR so we can really see what it brings us. But I'm quite excited for that system. TC didn't end up well. I mean, I think TC went up really well. We are just following up on the feedback. Like I mentioned, we didn't get all the feedback and results in PTR, which we already knew. We're not Blizzard. We can't click a button and get 1,000 players playing non-stop and covering everything. So we knew that we have to follow up when the players reach those points, find those points, and that's what they're finding as we speak on live. And now we finally confirmed everything we got reported so far. We are confirmed and gone through, and now we are working on it. So we need to obviously have some time to work on it, fix it, balance it, and then patch it. So that's how it works. And overall, we have absolutely had more activity, more players active with TC than pre-TC. And of course, we understand that people are eager and quickly awaiting those tweaks and updates, so we can enjoy sieges even better. And that's obviously going to happen, right? We just need to be a little bit patient because we just got the feedback and data. We need to fix it also or tweak it, right? And of course, releasing on a new platform, we looked at several games that have been on Steam for a few years and then released recently on Epic Game platform, and they actually doubled their population, a little bit less than Steam release, but quite a lot. And all of them had a pretty good boost just releasing that new platform, because there are new other types of players or other people playing there. And again, there are still majority of players, MMO players in the world, have never heard about Mortal Online 2, for good and bad. Obviously, the good part is that we have a few millions over time to reach out that could end up enjoying Mortal Online, especially the more features we add over the years. This is a never-ending game project, right? And we never done any marketing either, so obviously for good reason, or for those reasons, we are quite in the shadows. So not that many players know about our game yet, and obviously the plans are to change that, starting with Epic Game platform release, and being the first MMO in the world running on UE5 on its own is quite exciting for a lot of influencers, YouTubers, and streamers. That some of them have already tried the game, some of them are waiting to try the game, such as Shroud and those guys that kind of knows what these type of game are and could actually enjoy it. They had it installed back in the days, but was suggested not to play it during Steam release, and that was good, I think, because we went through pure hell during that phase. Today is a very different topic, very different situation, and obviously with Unreal 5 and Epic it will be even better. So we're gonna obviously over time try to invite all those back and new players and start marketing and release the game. No, we can see activity went up with TC patch. We have more players active over time than we had pre-TC. For obvious reasons, right? People want to build and some want to siege. And the siege part is problematic right now, which we, like I said, we got the information on and we're following up on that. So just wait until we patch and the sieging will be more enjoyable. I know we're all super hungry and want it all now, right? And trust me, we do also, but again, we're a small team. We can't just push one button and bam, it's magically now. We need to be patient and bear with us, and we will be there. We will get there, right? What's the point of ships with no Sadaka? Oh, come on, man, Cradil. Come on, I thought you were a sandbox MMO player. There's going to be so much content for ships. First of all, just having your floating mobile home is going to be awesome. Construct and build your own ship and sail the local seas around Milan and such. Even in lakes if you wanna. Deep sea fishing, deep diving, treasuring. Eventually, yes, we will have other continents, a whole sunken continent to visit. But of course, we're gonna have pirating, we're gonna have ship raids, we're gonna have missions tasks that you can do on the seas. There's gonna be plenty of things. And obviously, the plan is when we add ships, we absolutely need some of those starting content, right? For it to make sense. All right, I'm falling behind here, I see. Let me catch up one moment. Sorry about that. Give boats, Henriks, blocks, and also wagons. We will see how the upcoming roadmaps look. I mean, it's very important, obviously. We have a few focus areas that we want to fully polish and finish. There's still some bugs we also want to cover, right? So it's important we cover up on that, follow up on that, some quality of life before we, you know, quickly leap forward in huge new systems. I mean, we know there's a huge audience waiting for ships, right? But we need to be careful here and not overreach. We need to, you know, in a very steady way move forward here with stability and control. That's important. We know that there's a huge ship audience out there that want to be pirates, and in time, obviously, that would be the case. But we need to be careful in overstretching, right? Like him, I don't know all the details when it comes to players exploiting and such, but we have a whole team focusing on that. We have the GMs, and they log and report and discuss internally to, you know, identify, solve, improve, and obviously take care of players that are not following the rules. And that happens on a daily basis. I know they're banning quite a few accounts every now and then. But like I said, I don't know exact which cases you're referring to and so on, but it's on. Promised boat 12 years ago. I'm not sure if we promised it 12 years. Well, maybe we mentioned that we plan to have boats in the future, right? And that's always been a plan. You can read that in the old game design book I wrote, what was it, 17 years ago, I believe. When I read it today, there's some cool old features that makes me hungry again to, you know, because over time those features have been either popular or in the right moment or not. And one of them called I don't remember, we called it something dimension run or something. You start with your team, you open up a specific dimension portal in your TC city, you pick your team numbers, and you enter this dimension. In this dimension you go to an unknown place with your team, and you have to adventure through this dark place of dungeon or whatever that may be. There are dangers you have to fight and clear out, and there are treasures to be discovered through the ways. But the dimension shrinks over time, which forces you to a specific location. And on the other side, there's an equal amount of team. That is another city guild that has signed up entering this dimension. So obviously you have to fight here in the middle. There can only be one surviving side, leaving the dimension with all the treasure and rewards. Does that sound familiar to someone? I read that in the game design a few years ago that I wrote 17 years ago. And yeah, it's a very cool feature that I thought would be very exciting to have. The question is when, and if we look at some games today that is quite popular, it seems like it's a good timing. I don't know, maybe it is. I've been online, had something similar with the Hellgates, right? Hellgates, was it called Hellgates, or I'm thinking Diablo now? So yeah, there's some influences, right? But it's interesting, I wrote that 17 years ago, and yeah. So that's gonna be, and Relic War and some others, gonna be on the community options, and hopefully you will help us then to see, okay, these ones are really popular when it comes to that kind of features, content, and those are there. So, and then we create the upcoming roadmaps based on that. Yeah, we created a dimension. So Mortal 9, Nave have multiple dimensions. It's in the lore. It's already built in the lore. It's just that we haven't got to those features since ever. So there are multiple dimensions, so it absolutely fits Mortal Online. It was designed for Mortal Online 17 years ago. It's just like I said, we haven't reached those areas. And we want to hit features that a lot of people want and enjoy, so we can grow, right? That's the cool thing with a game like a true sandbox game like Mortal Online. It can grow and shrink over time, and as long as we hit the right features and right content, it can explode in population. Obviously, if we focus on wrong areas and are stuck in a loop, not reaching out to more players, we may not grow, right? So it's very important that we can pick popular features that makes a lot of sandbox interested players excited to log in and play the game and enjoy it, because with more players also we can all enjoy more different types of interaction. So we just need to hit those right features on upcoming roadmaps to help us grow even more. We have the Team Realm Arena, absolutely, with multiple ranking systems that we want to add with betting and rewards. That's really cool as well. So you can become the champion of the world with title and capes and try to defend that title over time, and you can see your ranking in the world. So that's cool, right? So there is something for all of us, right? And sometimes you're tired of that and you may want to enter a new dimension, or you may want to try to beat the arena. There's gonna be a lot of cool things. I'm personally looking forward to very much just relax with the community, VoIP, and play poker. It's super fun. I want to do that with the community. I want to sit down and chill and enjoy my time in person. Sit down there and look at your face and talk and just socialize and have fun. It's so fitting. All those features fit so well in Mortal Online. We will have mortal Texas poker players that do nothing but play tournaments and are successful at that, and may not be out in the world even. Yes, ready players will be able to play poker too, but there is a certain risk tied to that, which you will understand. More of a blackjack man myself. Blackjack, we can all enjoy a little bit blackjack, right? It's easy to get into, and it's quite fun. Yeah, I agree. I was in a cash game, Henrik. Yeah, absolutely. I think we need both cash game and tournaments. And the Tinremic Empire, I heard room, we're gonna host a guaranteed pot a few times a week that you can participate in a tournament, maybe a 100-man tournament or something like that. And there will be a guaranteed pot. Gonna be really fun. I'm looking forward to that. Roulette and craps. I want craps table and an NPC to run the craps game. Indeed. All right. I think it's, let's see, it's Toros TV. Thank you very much. For the Prime. 7 months. Hello, Emma2. Thanks for Ideal. Belson, thank you for the subscription for the 10 month. Henrik, I think we need to stop focusing on new schools feature and work on making the current gameplay loops. Combat balance and PvE content engaging to encourage retention. There are 3 dungeons in the game and they are all Zerg fests. These dynamic spawners are not engaging encounters and feel like a short-term fix for lack of raw gold generation. Yeah, so currently we are not working on new features or any new magic schools. We are working on Unreal Engine 5 and follow up on TC, balance and polish, right? So we are on the same page there already. We need to get that in place. And yeah, you know, the Outlaws was highly appreciated as a success. People loved running around and, you know, tuning into some interesting loot by not locked behind dungeons. So those that never could participate in dungeons can at least run around in the world and find different Outlaws types and also enjoy some loot. Obviously, we are planning to expand on these fields when it comes to dungeons and their rewards also. And of course, over time, we plan to add more dungeons over time with different theme, different difficulty levels. You know, so of course, more of all that content is always expanding, just as it's been the past 6 months. So absolutely, there will be a lot more than that. There are so many areas of focus as well in a game like this, a sandbox game, that, you know, it depends so much on the player interest. You know, some people love combat, love PvP. Some people want to do more, you know, non-PvP content. You know, there's something for everyone. And it's important that we have a good balance so the game is what we describe it to be for everyone also, right? And everyone benefits when more players join in. I think that's something we can all agree on, right? So absolutely, we need to pick the right focus, the right areas of improvements, as mentioned. Few people love the state of PvP. I mean, we haven't really changed much in PvP at all since Combat Beta, where everyone voted top rate best PvP game in the world. The main thing that got discovered was weak spot damage and daggers, but we didn't change that. That was since beta days, so obviously not caught by anyone until late, right? So we didn't touch that. It just slowly changed over time. What we did add is what a lot of people wanted, tower shields. And yeah, they are overpowered. And those are being followed up on. So that's interesting how meta and views change over a period of 6 months without us really changing anything. From everyone saying it's the best PvP game currently in the world. And someone says now it's not fun anymore. I mean, you see what's strange here, right? Is it lack of new PvP content, or what is it lack of? Do you just say the best PvP game in the world? I'm referring to the players' words, Molag. Yes, people say if you like a MMO game and you want PvP, there's nothing but Mortal Online 2. That's what people saying when we refer others to join in on the game. That's not my words. A lot of people say come and play Mortal Online 2 because the PvP in combat is a one of a kind. You know, they don't like PvP as much in WoW and other MMOs than they do in Mortal Online. That's their word, not mine. Is that a big surprise to you, Mulag Amur? Is that a big surprise? Didn't you know a lot of people are referring to MMO, to PvP when they're talking about Mortal Online? That's not me saying it. I always say Mortal Online is much more than PvP, but yes, PvP is a big thing in Mortal Online for a lot of people. And a lot of people are here to PvP. And if they didn't like it and they think there's other MMO games that are better PvP, then why would they play Mortal Online, right? Doesn't make sense. Look, Jester didn't even know there was PvP in this game, so you see how confused we can be sometimes. Combat Beta didn't have magic. No, because, you know, yeah, well, we got magic the first school, eventually in Combat Beta as well. But we all know that Mortal Online is not gonna just be a melee combat game. We all know that. It's gonna have a lot of magic, a lot of melee combat, even more than what we have now. Ranged weapons, crossbows, more magic. There's gonna be a lot. Assassination skills, traps, you know. It's just gonna be more and more options, more and more tools over time. We all know that. That's have been here for a few years. I mean, I understand if you hate Magic and all of that, and you just want to play like melee combat simulator, like Age of Chivalry, stuff like that. That's understandable, right? If you hate Magic, but we always promise that Mortal Online is a magical world. There's gonna be magic. There's gonna be a lot of more melee and ranged and all of that. But yeah, that's the thing, right? We all have different views and opinions on all the different features, and we're not all gonna agree at all time. We can never make everyone happy, right? So we can all agree on that, and we know that's the case. But the game will grow and will get better and exciting for more and more players over time. That's the goal, right? Smoother PvP in Shiver and Mordhau. Yeah, and Super Mario Kart is a cool car game compared to Forsen, right? It's hard to compare a car with a animal. But yeah, like I said, some people may enjoy more instant melee focused PvP, and there are some cool games for that. But when it comes to large scale, one of a kind, MMO, real-time combat, there's not much that gets close to Mortal Online 2. And I think that's why we have a lot of PvP players enjoying Mortal Online combats. Has a lot more depth and options and variation than many games today, and it will just keep on growing. But yeah, it's cool also because many of those games, Chivalry, Mordhau, those also bringing players to Mortal Online because, hey, well, I recognize that combat a little bit. Maybe I feel at home. And yes, we got a lot of Mordhau players that feel quite at home already instantly in Mortal Online 2 and give up a challenge to other MMO PvP players. So, you know, there's a good synergy that those games also shows that you can have a little bit similar combat, even though it's not fully comparable, but you also have a whole sandbox MMORPG world included. How about that? How about that? Turn caps is planned to be tweaked along with the new abilities. I mean, why some people hate the Necro Dungeon is because it's locked down by guilds, right? They keep it locked down. There's a few things we're gonna add that makes it a little bit harder to lock it down as efficient as some guilds are doing today. So that's gonna change. But obviously, if a guild devotes all their time in locking down a dungeon, you know, that's up to the player. But for us, we're gonna improve that by adding a lot more dungeons spread out in the world. So, you know, you may want to visit many other dungeons, right? Yeah, many dungeons are locked down or populated by various guilds quite frequently. So yeah, of course we need more dungeons, right? And multiple exits, yeah, that's a really good feedback from the community. We have absolutely confirmed and noted that when we add more dungeons now, we need multiple exits. That's good. We fully agree with that. That's a very good point. And we are going to utilize that 100%. So yeah, absolutely. So yeah, you know, if we focus on a batch of multiple added dungeons, then obviously it's going to be hard to lock down 10 dungeons in the same guild, right? Eventually, especially if they're spread out over the world. So it's going to be good for all of us, including the game, when we add more dungeons. That's for sure. And yeah, multiple exits is a good thing along with those dungeons. We learn what helps to improve dungeons moving forward. Shit, time is flying when we talk about questions, guys. So I want to start the giveaway. Exclamation mark MO2 to participate in the Immortal giveaway. So we don't run too much overtime today. Multiple exit means multiple entrances. Yeah. We can all agree that multiple exits is good for Mortal Line. And no, it doesn't have to mean multiple entrances. We can enforce a exit to be an exit. It's a specific drop-down rule we can add with a specific collision so you can't get in there. We actually have one of those in the Necro dungeon. I'm sure you know which I'm talking about. But yeah, so we can decide if it should be multiple entrances, and we can decide if it should be specific multiple exits that you can't re-enter or re-enter again. You know, we have all those options. And I think quite a few more of those options to our dungeons is a good thing, because you will have more options as players to backstab, flee, or whatever, right? And more options like that in a game like this is usually good for many players. And my neck is crumbling down. Hey. You sure we can't just shoot our way in? Yes, if there's a collision, you can't shoot your way in up a hill and then in. If there isn't a new way, that is. But we haven't seen it so far on this specific one I'm talking about. Like system with random properties on jewelry, maybe make it for other items too. So trinkets are just one type currently. We plan to add multiple types over time that is also Clade inspired. So there will be more. And then of course we haven't got to the enchantment feature yet. That also allows you to enchant both gear, weapons, armor, and clothing with specific rules and limitations depending on material and weight. Pierce with the 26th month. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. What is your thought on the Henrik Vision meme and how that sentiment has impacted the community? I mean, it's quite ironic and ridiculous, right? We can call anything a division, right? Oh, a bug. Oh, it's division. Oh, it's division. So cool. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But that happens to all games, all communities. So what can I comment on that? Either you like it and laugh, or not. I don't know. What should I comment on? It's not up to me to decide, right? Personally, I like the Henrik Vision memes. See? There you go. I mean, we really appreciate feedback, discussions, and we love to dig into that and take notes when someone is serious and civil, right? But when some people, I would say, just talk like a crazy, very young individual without any respect or any thought or any, you know, and just insult of the insult. That's something that we are not working with, because we already spent 16 years of our life and all of our time and investment and energy and life into these projects. We're serious about this, just as many of you guys are serious about, you know, playing it, enjoying it. So we really appreciate an adult civil discussion and, you know, options and suggestions, and that's awesome, and we enjoy doing that. But we draw the line when there's just these lulls, you know. Because we need to spend our energy and time on what matters, what really matters, right? No new news. I dropped some important information topics earlier in the stream and updates with Unreal 5 that will affect everyone immensely. We're going to do a little a blog on Unreal 5 blog update as well. and I'm gonna play next stream and show you the world, because the lighting is finalized pretty much. They're not spheres. They were spheres initially, but they were patched into circles, the calculations. But with that said, the visual circles on the map are not correct. We kind of concluded that today when we debugged the entire system. So when you think you are within that zone or not and it's overlapping, that's wrong on the map. So we need to solve that one. But in the code wise, it's correct with the circles. All right, last minute, exclamation mark MN2, and then I'm rolling the ball. Will I be able to keep my pre-patch Unreal 4 client? No. The Unreal 4 client will be merged, updated into Unreal 5 when we patch Unreal 5. And that's a good thing. We're going away from the old engine and stepping into the new engine with all its goodies and whistles and bangs. Oh my god, Havoc! Havoc with the 3-month. Love you, Henrik. Thank you for a great game so I can play with my friends. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. And always makes me happy to hear people enjoying the game, especially with their friends. Because yeah, the game shines even more when you play with some friends. I fully agree. I used to play with a group of friends of mine and super fun. Always a unique experience to play with your friends in Mortal Online. All the madness that can happen also is you know, one of a kind. And it's time to revisit for me and my friends sometime after Unreal 5 when we have a little bit more time. Are there any major land changes coming with Unreal 5 update? There's huge updates coming with Unreal Engine 5. There are so many areas that are affected in small ways and in sometimes large ways. I'm gonna show and talk a little bit more about that on my next stream, when I also can run on the PTR server in Unreal 5 in Mortal Kombat 2 and show you live. I think that's the best way to show it, right? So in a way that we can work with testing the circuit and compare what the code is saying to what is occurring for the guild circles. So since Sebastian pretty much confirmed today that it looks like all the codings are correct, how it calculates the radius, and we see it differs on the map, and we also notice that when you change the resolution, the circles differs more. So obviously that makes it clear that something is going off on the map, also including when have different resolutions. So we need to debug the UI, the map. Why does it go foobar to fix it? Guards with bows gonna wanna reduce damage. Yes, it's reduced in next patch. Whoever see a North America server, we may put another continent on a North American server. Any chance think I can get a Henrik beard, my lord? Mr. Prinkley with stinky eye. Stink eye. Stink eye. Awesome. That face. Amazingly molded. One of a kind. One of a kind. Thursar face. Love it. It's beautiful. Enjoy this game with friends. Best ever. Indeed. Get to the chopper, stink-ite. I can't wait until we meet in the tavern playing some poker. Stink Eye, Thumbberry, and all of those amazing VoIP characters. We got some bounty hunting love. Got some bounty hunting love, guys. Also for the next patch. Finally, some of those long missing improvements that we all want and need. We got the red murder, fully murder, being identified as murderers in the world. So everyone can see that you are a murderer when you committed to become a real murderer, which means they can always engage without becoming a criminal, including in cities. We're gonna run PTR test servers before we go live with Unreal 5, so everyone had the opportunity to help us jump in, stress the shit out of everything. We appreciate that help. So map circles are not correct. Correct. They are not correct on the map as of we discovered today that it seems that the code, the functions where it covers and where it taxes and where it can build and so on is correct. That is correct, but the map doesn't display it correctly. So that's how we all get confused when we're looking at the map. So we need to debug the UI and try to fix that. As a new player, I think you did a good job with the game so far. It's clearly imperfect, but I love the concept you all made. Thank you very much, Jokes May. Jokes May. Absolutely, I agree. It's been a hell of a project, extremely challenging. At sometimes I thought I was gonna die, including the team. Sometime, you know, we thought that shit, this is too difficult. We as most other MMOs, you know, have met the walls at some times in some of the years, but somehow we managed to continue, push forward, fight forward, and you know, get us to a better and better position. And soon I think we can all appreciate it a lot more when we reach our important core milestones. All right, giveaway time, guys. How far are we from seeing the Tin Room Duck in Malmo? Immortal. I can't say when that will happen at this point, actually. I'm afraid. But obviously, we need to push it sooner or later, right? We love Stink Eye. Indeed. Schnoz, and of course, Schnoz. By the way, wasn't Schnoz and Stink Eye the same person? Or is it two different persons? I don't remember. Does someone know? Or is it a secret? Schnoz was brilliant. I'm missing interaction with Schnoz as well. Sir Kittington, thank you for the bits. How do you pronounce Sator? I say Sator. Sator. How do you guys say it? Always interesting how we all... I hear someone talking on stream sometime and I wonder, what the hell did he just say? We all have some different pronunciations sometime, right? But Sator. I think we all say Sator here at Star Wars. How do you pronounce Kaleno? Kaleno. Or Salino. But I think Kaleno. Salino or Kalino. Sator. Satyr. Sator. Yeah, we at Star Wars say Sator. Satantor. I pronounce Sator same as you. Alright, alright. How do you say dial? I've heard it 100 ways. Dial. Dial. How do you say dial? Stink Eye kills Schnoz. God damn, man, we need Schnoz back. Is it pronounced Sator or Sator? Good question. Cilantro. Asking Henrik for a long question isn't the smartest idea. You know, I know the general most of the lore, right? But sometime when it comes to those extreme detailed explanation behind every single thing, then yeah, Mats is obviously the guy, right? But I know how to pronounce them, and obviously that comes from Mats. Absolutely. I also heard satyr rhyming with my beer, satyr. Oh, okay, yeah. I can hear that. Sator, Celine Dion, Sator, and Celanos is Celine Dion. Dilly? Dilly? What the hell is Dilly? Stink Eye wouldn't exist if it wasn't for your giveaway, so thank you, Schnoz. Stink Eye, same weirdo. Ah, I see. Okay, Prinkly? I'm missing Schnoz though, but he's still there, right? He's still there, right? All right. Please make the game great. Don't rush with a release, which can be fatal. I mean, one of the thing and the challenge is that fundings, right? If we don't have any fundings, it's very hard to proceed, and we don't want to cut down. You know, obviously those are some options, but we want to do the opposite. We want to grow and expand. The only way to, you know, help with funding the project is by selling copies and have subscription to the game, you know, or any funding process that may be suitable. But I find those other ways may be hard for us, right? Because we are a small team and we're not a famous giant that can do hyped videos to donate like Star Citizen, for instance. So what are our options? That is the challenge, right? Dilly is my favorite way to say dial so far. Keep up the great work. It was great chatting with you in Bradwire's stream the other day. Save me from Terrorbird head while mounted, please. Ah, I see, like a hello. Indeed. Yeah. Like I said, there's a lot of room for tweaks, quality of life, such as bending down the terror head while running. That may be one of them, right? All right, it's giveaway time. I'm getting deluded again in all these different Shinara Kipuri. it's a tricky one. Some of the names that Mats invented is even impossible for the team to pronounce. Only Mats know some of those crazy ones that are not commonly used, right? Thank you, Mirluk. Thank you. Giveaway time, guys. Giveaway. It's time. To start outsource work or work with other small studios as well any. No, we don't do any work for anyone else. We only do work for Mortal Online 2. All right. Let's roll it. Let's roll it. All right. What the hell? All right, it's time, guys. Good luck, everyone. Let's go. Kind of blackjack time now, eh? It is. Let's go. Congratulations, the great Porky 13. The great Porky 13, eh? Let's see. Is he here? Now music reroll. What? Didn't hear the music. Reading, congrats. Why not add more PV content filler? Will be easier and more effective than massive content patch, AI animation around map and more. So that's what we'll be doing with expanding different types of outlaws, making them dynamic, spread them out on the entire continent so you can always run into them even in very empty areas. So we are working on that as well. We're going to add more points of interest, more stationary areas. And eventually one of the features is AI invasions. But the question is again, what kind of order do we want on some of those specific features? Porky, let's see if we have Porky here. The Porky. The Porky. Are you here? The great Porky 13? Meter drops and invasion. Two really solid systems that I think many may enjoy. We're gonna confirm it with the community interaction. Finally won something, eh? Is it the first time, the great Porky? Goroborogarug. Trick one. Other Hellgates concept. Yeah. That's interesting. Absolutely. That gives you matched, balanced, fair PvP groups at all times, which can happen naturally, but is more challenging naturally, right? All right, let me grab that mortal code. Where the hell do we have it? No. Too many tabs. How do I always end up with about 150 tabs, people? How do I end up with so many tabs? And it eats my freaking memory every time. Congratulations again, the great Porky. You're not new to the game, right? The great Porky? Or you're a veteran? One noog. Thank you for the prime. We more MK-like dungeon everywhere. Do you mean the sewers in Moncur? Gambler with the sub. Thank you very much. God damn, got a hype train going, man. Got a hype train. Hyper train. Porky is a master alchemist. Ah, cool. It's Buckshot. Thank you very much for the prime, eh? Been here for quite a while. I thought so, eh? He's known as Master Porky the Poison Maker. Ah, so you're waiting on the rogue assassination poisoning skills, I assume. What would be the point of standing if you're free to kill in towns? What the hell are you meaning? You're not free to kill in towns. The guards will kill you. And you will become a murderer in the new patch, permanently red. Which means everyone will kill you every time they see you. That's the point. Alright? And if you don't have the standings, you won't be allowed in that nation. You missed the giveaway, Mitch Diablo. We just missed it. means having a standing while being a murderer. I mean, it's two different things, right? You can be a murderer, a known murderer and hunted by everyone at all times in everywhere in the world. And you can have a good standing or a bad standing against a nation, working with them or against them, be banned by them, or having access, and even more access with the new standing system that goes much more in depth. So it's two different things. Planning for a free weekend on discount when you release to Epic. Apologize if this has already been addressed. I'm not sure actually. We usually discuss the release phases with both Steam and Epic to see what is best practice when it comes to all of that. I don't remember if we did a little release discount on Steam. I don't remember, but you know, we try to follow their standards. They have suggestions, they have discount programs that we try to follow, and we do that already on Steam, and we'll most likely do that on Epic also. Very hard to punish this hard for PvP in a full loot game. I mean, we always stated there would be consequences to murdering innocents, right? You can be a murderer, you can be a rogue, you can be in guild wars. There are unlimited of PvP options, but obviously if you just want to gank noobs, there are consequences to that, and that there's a natural balance, because ganking noobs is not very healthy for the game, because those noobs may quit, and we don't want them to quit before they try the game and see if they like it or not, and actually, you know, being able to get into the game. So obviously, there, you know, again, it's very easy to compare this game with Rust, where you can just murder. It's a PvP game, Rust, right? That's all you do in that game. And you build up in 1 minute, and you destroy in 1 minute, and you kill a few, and then you drop out. It's dangerous if you start comparing that's how it should be in Mortal Online, because that wouldn't work. This is a persistent game, long-term investment, years of investment in building up stuff. So having that man's mindset is a little bit skewed in a game like this. So obviously there needs to be proper consequences and some mechanic in place to keep some kind of logical order in the nations, in the lore, and between players. But of course, you can always go to wilderness and no man's land and slaughter whoever you want without any consequences. That will also be available for you. So I think there's an important balance to be had in Mortal Online that most people agree with and understand for good reasons. Right? Rust is a fast-paced PvP. Yeah, you know, it's cool to jump in, kill a little bit, have some crazy, and then jump out, and that's it. Mortal Online offer a lot more depth, more long-term commitment, more investments. So obviously it needs some differences, right? The red system works. It worked in M1, it worked in UO, it worked in M59. It's a proven system, and you can stay below the red system with running parcels and with online play time without killing innocents. It did work in those games. There were complaints. It did work in Mortal Online. There were some complaints there, but again, we learned that we can't make everyone happy. And sometime when we try things, it didn't improve things, which means we need to either go back or try something different that does improve it, right? And I think, yes, bringing back those reds in this way will put us in a better position. And I think most people agree at this point. When hours you got in Rust? I don't know. I don't have that many. I tried it quite a bit on and off with some friends, had some fun, but I can't say I played a ton. Again, lack of time. You know, I'm a gamer, but when I got into this deep development in Mortal Online, gaming time in other games shrunk a lot, especially some periods of time where it's impossible to spend any more time in other games. Sometimes I have a period where I can try out some games that I want to try out and also see how they do things and get inspired and so on. So I did try Cyberpunk for a few minutes, the 2.0 patch, and good improvements. I was quite hyped when Cyberpunk was first announced and released initially. Really cool trailers, cool concepts. I liked it, but holy shit, it was so buggy. Even Mortal Online 2 looks better. And again, that's a giant released Cyberpunk. It was quite horrible when released, and it took a few months before it became playable. And it doesn't even support multiplayer. The Starlet team says, holy shit, imagine if we just had to do single player content. It would be like taking candy from children. That's the difference. When you add on multiplayer, it becomes 10 times more difficult and challenging. If you add on MMO, network solution, it becomes 100 times more complex. So we can't be too hard on us. You know, I'm quite proud of the team. You know, just looking at what we're doing, and at the same time, we fully understand criticism and disappointment. But you know, it's we managed to do something quite unique. But yeah, but 2.0 Cyberpunk patch made it playable, so that's how it should be on the release phase. Sad it took a few years. But yeah, it's a cool game. And I just heard that the expansion released yesterday, right? And the truth is now it's back with tons of bugs. Tons of bugs. It's unavoidable, it seems, for many teams in the world, no matter what game people are releasing. The demand and realism and gameplay requirements, or what people expect from a game, have gotten so high that it's so challenging to get perfect. There's so few perfect releases. Even look at, what was it called, Planet Starfield, filled with bugs and exploits, filled with them. And that's a 10-year project from a giant, filled with bugs. And they also cut a lot of core features that people were pissed off with. The bar have gone so high that it seems like it's very hard for anyone to deliver all that, right? It just works. And you know, we take our fair share of trying to take responsibility for our failure, right? It's a hell of a challenge. It's a hell of a challenge. So it is doing better than any of the AA titles with the gameplay, in my opinion. Super excited for these updates. Yeah, full loot, but consequences. So make better choices. At the moment, your choices don't matter. Yeah, I think you're right. Baldur's Gate 3, baby. Yeah, I think that's one of a quite successful release, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't have time to try it myself, but I haven't heard that it was filled with bugs, at least. So that seems to be a polished release. One of the few ones. Am I right? I don't know. Yeah, but Bethesda trademark is bugs. If they release a game without bugs, they'd probably lose standing with their community. That's one way of looking at it, right? But great is great. Yep, I heard it's a solid game and works very well from release also. But during release, when you hit Act 3, there were a few bugs, but overall it was a great release. Hold on, spamming element is naked in town. I have one auto person loot and die. I have a third and died guilty. Work around war target loot in town. There's some bugs, but they fixed 1,500 the first patch that came a few days after release. They fixed 1,500 bugs in Baldur's Gate, or what? Sounds crazy. Couldn't be that many. Are there any plans to transfer game cloud service to help with desync issues for people that live on West Coast? Currently not really. We are though looking to possibly place another continent on a server located on North America, so you can have that option to play more on that side, but you can still visit obviously Milan, right? Agree, but I don't want to play WoW. In order to have option to combat like stuns, near debuffs, bows, and a lot of the other things like bear armor, which have been promised a long time ago. Well, the pre-patch things, why are you hung up on fixing them instead of just deleting them? If you have the luck, we can't just delete them, that's simple. I think it's simpler to finish the tool to have instant access to all pre-patch items. If I'm not mistaken. But we obviously have to finish that tool, right? So we do have that access. Would any server be a clone of the map we have now or a new area? That would be, if we are to follow our plans and goals, that would be a new area located there. So we could have one server in North America that is hosting one continent. We could have another continent hosted in Asia regions if we need to. So that means we have them evenly spread out. You can travel across the world still and visit everyone in the same world, but you can, you know, choose if you want to play more mainly in your region, if that's something you prefer. That is something that we have been looking into and may be able to offer. You know, our first choice is not to clone Milan. It's our first choice of our core vision and goal is to have one world united, everyone playing one world. So even though we expand with additional continents and they are spread out on different servers, you're still in the same world, which is one cool concept, I believe. So we're gonna obviously push that as far as we possibly can. If we hit our wall and that's not absolutely not possible, and we're getting influx after influx of players, we need more space and spread out the players, we may have to go the route by having additional Milan in North America, and then later maybe transfer them to be, you know, another continent, and you can still travel back and forth, right? We really wanna keep them all in the same world. It's a cool concept and very exciting. It also since all the issues have been happening with them. I talked about that a little bit earlier. So the thing is, we've been working with these hosts for many years, and over those years there's never really been any issues, and they have top tier access to the world that we rely on. So it's actually been a very good solid partner for many years. Now two things occurred quite frequently. The third one was actually not on that host. It was another server that we also used to communicate with our game servers that was affected by that other host. So it looks like everything was on the game host, which isn't really the case. And that's something that shouldn't really happen again. I mean, over these, 10 years we used them, we haven't really had those issues. So, and we have worked with them a lot when it comes to building a robust anti-DDoS system integrated. So quite a lot of investments. So I don't think it's suitable to switch hosts at this point in time. It will set us back, and we have to work a lot on DDoS and other stuff and security for quite a while. And currently, we don't see any beneficial when it comes to the player latency experience. And as long as we don't have these hiccups with host issues, that shouldn't affect us at all, right? So currently that's how it looks, at least. No turn caps, okay? With the new combat system, we are planning to tighten up the turn cap. And it makes sense when you get those abilities, because then you have different ways of engaging in skillful combat. You mentioned that the code for territory radius and Texas was correct. Who do we contact if our taxes are still messed up? Report it as a bug, so it goes into our dev system so they can look and investigate. If it's specific and requires more information, you can always contact Discord, the lead GM Discord, or even Robmo. He can also try to help with communication that is given to us, and they can confirm. So the devs gets it confirmed. So yeah, that's I recommend that Hicks alive. Be nice to have riposte system. Does current host company have other host option in other countries to link? Yes, they do. So that's why we also they are quite world leading actually. So whenever we want to expand in different regions, we're already set up with them. North American Sardica would be such a meme. Why would it be a meme? Majunda? Why would it be a meme? I get where my journey going. What are you getting, Scorpio? Scipio, I mean, Scipio. Did I miss the meme? And players want to experience low ping late. Sardica traditionally is a mounted wonderland. Is that the meme? Is that the meme? I mean, if you remember how Milan looked and how it looks in Modline 2, it's so populated with more flora, fauna, forests, updates, quite a lot, right? Obviously, Sardica will also get a huge overhaul update and be more filled with stuff. Yes, there will be vast deserts, which obviously mounted stuff may be affecting those regions, but there will also be other regions that will be a little more a bigger change to them. I would say that you know isn't only a vast open deserts. So I would say it's quite similar to Milan. It, you know, I'm not even sure if it's gonna be as large as Milan continent as a whole. A giant sandworm, Henrik. Of course, didn't you see the sandworm in Sardica in Motlan 1? We had a badass dune sandworm there, which is really cool. Bratsarquine. And of course, we never got to discover all the, you know, depth of all these beasts we have plans for in the future. A lot of slumbering, forgotten, hidden, big creatures, from titans to elder, ancient creatures such as dragon types, titans. And of course, there is something on Sardica under the desert that also may awaken along when we have the AI finished for those features, those mobs. Yes, that's one of the quality of life we absolutely want to add, to show where you are bound on a button, so it tells you. That will be a good quality of life update. I'm not sure whether we're gonna add new addition dungeons. They are on the option, so the community can try to show us how much of a demand that is compared to all the other exciting things we're gonna present in upcoming roadmaps. Will there be multiple ways in and out of Sardica or just the one choke point bridge? Initially the bridge, but obviously as soon as we get ships, that's gonna give you a complete freedom also to access some of those. But yeah, initially one of the core access is the big bridge. And I can confirm if various bugs issues that have been around since launch and not worked on harder to solve on Unreal 4, has all of this generally been fixed for Unreal 5 launch, or is that closer to just transition? It depends on what area. There are a few areas that have been core issues that we all want to improve that are being improved along with Unreal 5 transition. So it all depends on what bug or issue we are talking on specifically. Overall, a lot of good core issues are being improved in Unreal 5. When I'm playing the game, next stream, I'm gonna play the game in Unreal 5. Do you not think splitting EU and NI to different regions is not going to hurt limited player base already? So the thing is, if we continue growing population-wise, we're gonna need more land, right? That's how the world needs to be expanded. We don't want to clone 50 shards like World of Warcraft when we run into population issues on a server. We want to grow the world, so we are all still playing in the same world. That's the cool concept, and that makes it feeling alive. You know, you can always travel anywhere in the world and meet anyone located anywhere in the world. That's the cool concept of Mortal 9, instead of having 100 instances and clones in different regions. So we don't plan to split them up, and that's not the first plan at all. The plan is to expand with additional continents, which we already presented 5 continents, other continents. And the plan is to allow you to travel there, obviously, and you may want to go there if Milan gets too crowded, for instance. It's too crowded, everything is locked down. That's when you may want to go to another continent and adventure there or start living there, right? On the world population will drop in great numbers with subscription and the state of the game that is quite problematic at the moment given bugs, bots, cheaters and so on. You know, it's not that cheaters are growing in the game, quite the opposite. We ban them every single week and day. So we have no tendency that is growing, quite the opposite. In different periods, we have different amount of people want to try shit in the game, right? And if the game is, you know, cheap to get into, there's no subscription requirements, they get easier in to try that. If there are subscription also, some of those may not want to commit more cost and risk when trying to do shit. So we're actually gonna remove more people that trying to cheat and build cheat stuff and sell stuff and virus and shit by actually having a subscription. So that's actually one of the big positive thing with subscription. It actually removes a lot of bad players that doesn't care about the game. They don't just want to ruin it for the rest. Some cheaters that don't want to commit more money. We get rid of a lot of those type of players, which is good for the game and which is good for us. So that is a good thing. Then obviously it's impossible to say how many people that don't want to enjoy the game and don't think it's worth paying a subscription to play the game. That's a big question mark, right? Hopefully there will be enough to support this game for us to be able to continue growing and build this game, because, you know, there's nothing like it. That's our dream, to have a true sandbox game like this that is growing over time. And now when we finally are on Unreal 5, we don't have to work on different branches and waste time on that. We can focus on proper development and the game only, and hopefully we can also have the resources to grow, expand the team so we can add even more features faster. If you ban less players next month, you can say the cheaters are not growing. Looking at the people banned, I don't see those numbers getting less. What are comparing in order to say cheaters are getting less? So if we see we have less cheaters activity in the game, and they, you know, have difficulties getting back when we have banned them multiple times, some of them give up because they don't want to waste more money. That's a success for us, and that means, okay, now we have a few less cheaters trying to cheat in the game. Do you understand, Stan? It's just pure math, nothing else. Coldest Room, thank you very much for the Prime. Appreciate it. Pure math. I mean, you know our take on it for now. We don't want to offer up pay to win and rainbow costumes and all kind of crazy locked content or pay to win stuff. We really hope that we have enough players that want pure gaming experience and just pay a donut and a beer once a month with a nice discount if we commit with more months in the subscription, and we all get pure, fair gameplay experience, and we get access to everything for free, including expansions and all of that. That's the dream scenario, right? And that we really hope that we can reach and, you know, have as a moving forward. Only the future will tell, right? If players want to support this type of game by having a subscription and not dumbing down the game or selling out for locked content. Start sub now. We wanna reach our Unreal 5 milestone at least. That's a big milestone. We always push this quite far. We wanna show as much respect as possible for our player base and show that we are very serious. All the money investment goes only into the development. So, you know, obviously we can't keep on going forever without funding, because we need food and we need to pay the servers, right? Which means we can't work on that milestone forever. It's impossible to perfect it because we don't have that luxury. We don't have those funding resources behind us. At the same time, we don't just want to start the subscription without kind of reaching that milestone. There may be those that, you know, want to support and think that is fine, and there may be those that think there are still too many bugs or whatever that they want to wait for before they want to sub. But, you know, hopefully we will have enough players buying the game and subscribing to the game so we can keep on growing and continue to build this game forward. We got dungeon like Monker dungeon and add a few more. So you mean the sewers in Monker? So that's one of a few sewers, right? A few cities have those starting sewers, and yeah, there's some different themes, right? And the MK is really beautiful, and it's a nice sewer. But obviously we're gonna add more dungeons. Yeah, it's a large sewer, but it's not really a fully fledged dungeon, I would say, in terms of depth and challenge and difficulty. But yeah, it's an awesome sewer for sure. I think it looks really nice. Yeah, we have a task where we plan to have ammo tents placeable on strongholds. So we will try to support that soon. Stay low. Yes, we want to display that as well. We want to make sure you can track all your prom gains and distribution. I think we're missing a few of those. You can see individual, right, gathered, but you don't see the spent. That's correct, right? That's the one that is missing. Sup, Valander? Will there ever be any more work done on ping normalization? I find as NA West players, I often am hit by characters who are too far away for me to hit back. Tech, so, you know, it's kind of like a deep rabbit hole, right? And any player always gonna think that it's, you know, impossible and much more than it actually is. There's always a specific latency in the world, including for Euro players, which means there may be, it's quite often where you hit on distance where it doesn't seem like it should connect. And that's one of the extreme challenges in a game like this with real-time combat. That's why you have auto attacks that doesn't trace or collide with any body parts at all or calculate anything like that. And they also have a lot of wild effects that that helps with the gap, right? You know, like an attack in World of Warcraft, you see this wild flame go through everything, so you understand you got hit. But we don't want to have that kind of style, right? So you see much more clearly the disconnect, right? There is absolutely a difference in certain things when it comes to parry timers and etc., depending on the latency, depending on where you are in the world. But most players have to learn and adapt to that. There's always this kind of delay. There's always, you know, hits and distance is a thing. So it's one of those challenges. It's very hard to have it connect perfectly because the nature of a MMO solution, we don't have those flames and auto targets, tab target attacks. And we have done a lot of magic with the current prediction and ping normalization system. It's extremely efficient and actually does a huge difference. But again, pushing that more than that is very difficult. There's a few things we want to test eventually on the parry parts that may improve it a little bit. But it's difficult because there's will always be this range of distance eventually also, until latency becomes better overall as an option for us to have a host a server on. But that obviously has slow progression, right? So you always have to kind of embrace and adapt for long distance hits. You know, as long as you see he's swinging, he should miss if you look at it, but you always parry anyway, and you see, okay, you gotta parry. You adapt to that kind of. So obviously it's not optimal, and you know, comparing that to a single player game or normal multiplayer game, then obviously you would dodge that, right, and don't have to parry in the air. So we fully understand that part is iffy. But most people get into that quite fast and adapt and become really good at it and understand those kind of limitations or issues that happen in these type of games. And I mean, we have very successful PvP players even from Australia that is really good at PvP. And they have worse ping than you. Yeah. Jake, indeed, is one of those good PvPers from Australia with not an optimal ping, but absolutely melee PvP doable. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you have packet loss, then it becomes much worse. That can also result in disconnect to the server. But if you have a reliable, stable connection and there's no routing issues in the world to our servers, then usually packet loss is not common. If you're using wireless connection, which surprisingly quite a lot are using, then packet loss is much more common, and that's not recommended. Yes, Jake uses exit lag and he gained, I don't know, 10, 20 milliseconds by better routing. So for some people, exit lag does help a little bit. It's free to try for everyone. So if someone think you're a little bit on the edge latency wise, you can always try out exit lag and see if that makes a difference for you. Really surprised how well the game runs with my 280 ping. It does run very well with average high ping, and that's where the prediction and ping normalization does quite a difference. It helps a lot to shrink in the gap between the players. Took my ping from 145, 150 to 108, 116. That's pretty decent difference. So yeah, I mean, I think it's still there a free trial when you can try it for free. If you can notice difference, then you know that's an option. Don't know if you know the answer to this question, but as a new player, it feels like all the bandit camps are surrounded by player towns. Is there a plan to look into this since it's not that nice of experience for new players? Thinking about the launch. Yeah, I mean, people have been building a lot in the world and occupying a lot of land, right? And there will be obviously more over time. People are building new houses every day. And people obviously like to find a nice spot near a nice camp to be close to that. naturally. We do plan to open up add camps in current forest locations where you can't build because there are simply no place, but camps and AI taken over in some of those areas. So there will be more action and reasons to go through and explore through forests, and obviously also have access to more camps and points of interest. So absolutely, we plan to add more of this over time. STI? What? STI? What do you mean? Prinkly? How to use VPN for unknown reason. That is very sorry. Very strange indeed. Guildgars doesn't help with AI though, only criminal players. Word when subs drop, think I gonna have to go on back burner. I'm broke bastard. Damn, Prinkly. I understand, man. We are quite tight also here at Starvolt. We have been developing without fundings for quite a while because we didn't start subs. Yeah. Is you plan on adding adrenaline system to help small scale? Yes, that is important combat update feature that you're gonna read about. I may have it finished for next stream. I'm not sure if we're gonna have both that and playing in Unreal 5 modline or just one of them. Maybe both even, since now it's every second week instead, right? Holy shit! Yeah, 3 hours. Sorry, I got stuck again in questions here. Yeah, I'm gonna end the stream and I'm gonna do a little raid, I think, before I end it. Let's see. Have I raided Ryza before? I don't think I have, right? I think I raided almost everyone else, but not Ryza. Ryza quite new, right? Didn't he start in the same era as Breaking Skulls? I watched him stream a few times and seems to be a really awesome guy. Shall we raid him? Shall we just pick him today? What do you say, guys? Thanks for seeing, Henrik. Glad I could make it. Sure, Prinkly. Nice to have you here. Have a good one. What do you say? Shall I do a poll or do we raid Ryza? Why not? He's super cool. I agree. Let's do it. Let's raid Ryza and showing some support. Subscription reduce cheaters' efforts. It's math. It's also math that cheaters developers will raise their prices pretending new security is harder. What? Would we increase our game price to make security harder? I don't follow that logic. No, we always work on anti-cheating. That's never going to end. Sadly, it's just necessary to have to spend time on that. All right, let's raid. Toshi is going to get updated, and daggers also. I commented that earlier in the stream. It's math that cheaters' brains are smaller. That is true, though. That is true. Let's raid Ryza. Let's show him some support, follow him and all of that. He's fairly new to my knowledge, but I think he's getting to it, right? He's getting to it. Right, let's raid him. The problem is people buying $5 copies. You can't buy the game for $5. We increased the lower price with the help of Steam to make sure that can't be done. So you can't go that cheap anymore. But yeah, there are people in some countries with lower prices, and then they resell it to those. You can't use VPN. They are working actively against that. But you can still have people in some countries reselling for you, and that's a problem because they're cheating the system, right? And obviously, we are battling that, and we are trying to improve our tools as much as possible because there are some things you can do. But it's, like I said, a constant battle. Sadly, we have to spend a lot of time on that, but just how it is. We will never give up, and the cheaters won't give up either. It's just the sad nature, right? All right. If enough people work together getting your free codes, they could. You mean my giveaways every second week? I don't, it's not that many that we have problems wiping them if they misuse those codes. That's not a big thing. All right, enough about my discussions there. But I want to thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate it. I appreciate all your donations, your questions, subscription, all of that. And I promise I'm gonna have a very exciting stream next time. We run into some very bad timing issues this stream, sadly. But I promise next stream gonna be exciting and packed with a lot of action and Unreal 5 magic in Mortal Line 2. So make sure you don't miss next stream. Let's raid Raisa. Raisa, where the hell is... Why don't he pop up on my list? Why? What the hell am I doing wrong, guys? I'm trying to raid Raisa, but I can't... It's not streaming anymore, or what? Yes? What the hell am I doing wrong now? It's really... Sneaky. Sneaky one. That's why. Correct. That's why. Sneaky L. Alright, let's raid him. Let's say hello to him. It's a cool guy. It's a cool guy. Let's show some love and support as usual, guys. Let's do it. Thank you, everyone. And I will see you on the next stream with some very exciting Unreal 5 gameplay. I can promise you that. All right? All right. Have a good one. Good night. And see you soon. Bye-bye. Didn't... Yes.